Jai Hind everyone. Welcome to the lecture series on cloud computing. Subject code is KCS 713. Myself Rekha Baghel, Assistant Professor in Computer Science and Engineering Department, Akgec Engineering College, Ghaziabad. Today's lecture is on Software as a Service Security, SaaS security. So in this lecture, we will discuss about the different types of security issues in software as a service, like traditional security issues, cloud specific security issues. So security issues, basically software as a service is a model which provides the client a facility to develop the different applications on the services provided by the service provider. So it is the responsibility of the provider to ensure the security of the users resources or the users data. So the software as a service model, the client has to depend on the service provided for the proper security measures. So when the security is not in the hands of the users, so it is the responsibility of the cloud providers to provide the security or provide the sufficient security measures so that the users data is saved on the cloud providers site. So it is very important to ensure the it is very important with respect to the user to ensure the right security measures are in place, and very difficult to get an assurance that the application will be available when needed. So application availability is another concern with the respect to the user, and cloud computing providers need to provide some solution to solve the common security challenges that traditional communication systems face. So this is the security issues, main security issues faced by the software as a service is to ensure the availability of the service and providing the guarantee to the user so that his data is safely stored in the at the user at the client providers or the service providers site. So basically security services provided by the provided by the software as a service is are facing the different challenges. So these challenges can be we can categorize these challenges into the different types. So we can categorize these challenges are like traditional security issues. We categorize security issues in software as a service in different categories like traditional security issues and cloud specific security issues. So traditional security issues can also further divided into different types. So these traditional security issues are divided into authentication and authorization related issues, availability related issues, data confidentiality related issues, and virtual machine security related issues. So these are the basically traditional security issues. These are traditional security issues. And if we talk about the cloud specific security issues, we can further categorize these cloud specific security issues into further types like information security, network security, resource locality, cloud standards, data segregation, data access, web application security, data breaches, backup, identify management. These are the different issues related to the cloud specific security. So we will discuss all these issues in detail one by one. So first challenge faced by the traditional security issues are the authentication and authorization. So in traditional methods, when the when we need to apply the authentication and authorizations, the simple way is to provide the some credentials to the user, and these credentials along with their passwords are stored in some particular device, and these credentials stored in particular device are handled by the some third party. So the authentication and authorization applications for enterprise environments may need to be changed to work with a safe cloud environment. So these credentials are stored in some particular machines, and these some third party vendors are take care of these machines. So these credentials which we are using for the authentication purposes are not 100% safe. So a solution with de facto standards of open authorization is used, in which there is a trust party auditor which maintains all the credentials, and cloud provider can uniquely distinguish one from user from one another. So we are using some trust party auditor. So this is the one challenge. So we cannot 100% rely on some trust party auditor which have the all the credentials of our users. Availability. Next one is availability. So here availability of the resources is a major concern. When the user needs some resource, so the availability of that resource at that moment is the primary concern. So availability ensure the reliable and timely access to the cloud data or cloud computing resources by appropriate personals. And the availability of cloud service provider is also a big concern, because the cloud services, if the cloud services is disrupted, then it affects more users or more customers in comparison to the traditional method, or in comparison to the traditional model. So we can take an example, like if I'm using the if I'm using the Gmail for my data transfer, suppose, and if this Gmail is stopped working, then it the this stopping of the services from the Gmail is does not affect only me. Many customers or millions of customers like me will be affected from this disruption of the services. So if so this is the main difference between the traditional services and the cloud specific services. These disruption of the cloud services, cloud specific services affects the more persons in comparison to the traditional methods. So software as a service application providers are required to ensure that the services provided them are running properly when needed, and enterprises are provided with the services around the clock, it without failure. So it involves, we can apply some architecture changes at the application and infrastructure level to add the scalability and high availability. So these are the high availability and scalability is the major concern. Means if there are the number of customers increase in at this at some time, the availability of these services must not be disrupted. So scalability will be high, means if less number of customers are using that service, or high number of users are using that services, will not affect the availability of the services. So at the same time, an appropriate action plan for business continuity and disaster recovery needs to be considered for any exercises as per the guidance. So availability must be ensured by the service provider. So availability is a major concern. Data confidentiality. Data confidentiality means my data is stored on some particular cloud service providers site, and I have a concern about my data is safe or not. So confidentiality is a major concern. Means confidentiality means I don't want to provide the access to some other to access my data. So this is the confidentiality means intentional or unintentional access to particular users data must be protected. So confidentiality refers to the prevention of the intentional or unintentional unauthorized disclosure of the information. So confidentiality in cloud system is basically related to in intellectual property rights, covert channels, traffic analysis, encryption and inference. Virtual machine security. So virtual machine security, basically by using the hypervisors we create the virtual machines. So these virtual machines are assigned to the particular users, and this whole system it work in multi-tenant environments where where a single compromise of the virtual machine security can uh, can become the threat of for the other users, because if there are the suppose there are the there are the multiple virtual machines like V1, V2, V3 and V4. We are considering here only 4 virtual machines, and these virtual machines are used by the user 1, user 2, user 3, user 4. If any attacker can access the can have the access to these virtual machines, then because the data of all these virtual machines are stored on same location. So here it is this. So data is stored at the same location. So if the attacker have the access to the data of this virtual machine, then the attacker can access the data of this virtual machines and V3 virtual machine. So it is a main concern. So virtualization is the main components of a cloud, but by using these access to the virtual machines poses the major security risk. So ensuring the different instances running on the same physical machines are isolated from each other is a major task of virtualization, which is not met completely in today's scenario. So cloud providers must ensure that the data of the one user must be separated from the other user. Virtual machine monitor should be root secure, meaning that no privileges within the virtualized guest or operating environment permits interference with the host system. All the users means root secure. All the virtual machines will be running in separate manner. One user cannot interference with the other user or with the host system. So some vulnerabilities has been found in all virtualization software which can be exploited by malicious local users to bypass certain security restrictions. So vulnerabilities in virtual PC and virtual server could allow elevation of privileges. Cloud providers therefore might need to consider traditional security concern from different angles. So virtual machine security is to be provided by the service providers. Information security. Information security means data is stored, the users data is stored on the or the enterprise data is stored on the a software as a service vendor, at the site of the software as a service vendor. So enterprise data is very important data, and it is to be safely stored. But if the SaaS vendor does not have adequate security, then the any attacker can access that data and prevent breaches due to the security vulnerabilities in the application or through malicious employees. This data breaches can also be done using the malicious employees. So suppose all these breaches and vulnerabilities are occurring in a SaaS site. So how we can stop this? We can stop these things by using the strong encryption techniques for data security and fine grained authorization to control access to the data. We can apply different encryption techniques, like we can apply the cryptographically strong secure cell keys to gain access to a host. If someone want to access the services of the host, then it must use that particular cryptographic strong secure cell keys for login. Network security. Network security in SaaS deployment model, sensitive data is obtained from the enterprises, processed by the SaaS application and stored at the SaaS vendor. Means when the user is performing, user is using the service providers resources at this system, and the data is stored, or SaaS application is stored at the SaaS vendor. So data is traveling from this machine to this machine. So data flow over the network needs to be secured in order to prevent leakage of sensitive information. When data is traveling from this machine to this machine, this data will be protected from leakage, so that the attackers don't get any idea about the sensitive information. So how we can protect this data? So we can protect this data with the help of some strong network traffic encryption techniques, like secure socket layer and the transport layer security. For maximum security, Amazon S3 is accessible via SSL and encrypted endpoints. The encrypted endpoints are accessible from both the internet and from within the Amazon EC2, ensuring that data is transferred securely with both within AWS and from source outside of the AWS. So network security must be ensured by the SaaS. Resource locality. In a cloud environment, the end user does not have the information where the exactly that particular resource is stored or located. So so possibly in other domains. So this poses a potential problem when disputes happens, which is sometimes beyond the control of cloud providers. So I am using particular services provided by the SaaS, and I did not get the idea about where my resource was located, and if some disputes occurred between me and the cloud providers, then I have no idea where my data is stored and where my services are stored. Then if there is particular disputes, then I cannot find out my, or I cannot recover my data. So the recent drop so the solution of this resource locality problem is the recent Dropbox users have to agree to the terms of condition. So Dropbox we are using to store our data, but At the end, when we are start using the drawbacks, it comes with the some terms and conditions, and we need to accept these terms and conditions. And uh, so it we provide the right to disclose user information in compliance with the laws and law enforcement request. So these service providers can access our data and share our data with the other ones. So secure software as a service model must be capable of providing reliability to the customers on the location of the data of the customers. So resource locality is to be ensured by the service providers. Cloud standards. Cloud standards like to achieve the interoperability among clouds and to increase their stability and security, cloud standards are needed. Suppose I am using the services of some cloud provider, and when I want to switch or I want to transfer from one service provider to the other service provider, it is not easy. Means for the benefit purposes, these cloud providers provide some complex architecture or complex rules, so that the customers of these cloud providers cannot transfer easily from one cloud provider to the other cloud provider. So in order to keep their customers, these cloud providers may introduce so called sticky services, which create difficulty for the users if they want to migrate from one provider to the another. For example, Amazon S3 is incompatible with the IBM's Blue Cloud Google Stories. So if it is very difficult from the customer's concern if he want to shift from one cloud provider to the other cloud provider. Data aggregation. So data segregation. Data segregation in multi-tenancy environment, major characteristic of the cloud computing. So as a result of multi-tenancy, multiple users can store their data using the applications provided by the software as a service. In such scenario, data of various users will reside at the same location. So data is stored at the same location, and if the intruder can have the access to the data of one user, so it can easily reach to the access of another user's data. So this intrusion can be done either by hacking through the loopholes in the application or by injecting client code into the Saas system. So client can write a mask code and inject into the application. If the application execute this code without verification, then there is a high potential of intrusion into the others data. So the Saas model should therefore ensure a clear boundary for each user's data. The boundary must be ensured not only at the physical level but also at the application layer. The services should be intelligent enough to segregate the data from different users. So malicious user can use application vulnerabilities to handcraft parameters that bypass security checks and sensitive data of the tenants. Data access is a means when the data access is mainly related to the security policies provided to the user while accessing the data. So in a small scenario, the small business organizations provides the data access to the users, and the organization will have own security policies based on which employee can access to a particular set of data. So security policies may entitle some consideration where some of the employees are not given access to the certain amount of data. Means layer by layer they provide the access, they categorize the employees in some set, and particular set of employees have access to the particular level of data. So, a SaaS model must be flexible enough to incorporate the specific policies put forwarded by the organization. So, model must also be able to provide organizational boundaries within the cloud, because multiple organizations will be deploying their business processes within a single cloud environment. So, there must be some segregation of the data or segregation of the employees based on the data access. Web application securities. So, software as a service is a software deployed over the internet and is deployed to run behind a firewall. So, all the users who developed the some software is stored at the particular SaaS vendors. So, the key characteristics include network based access to and management, commercially available softwares, managing activities from central locations rather than at each customer's site, enabling customer to access application remotely via the web. As the application is stored at the vendor site, so the user can access its application from anywhere around the world. So software which is provided as a service resides on the cloud, which tying up with the actual users. So, there is a need of the web application security, so that so create a vulnerability. It is security holes in the web applications can create a vulnerabilities to the SaaS application. Data breaches. So, the data users and business organizations data is stored at the in the cloud environment. So, breaching into the cloud environment will potentially attack the data of all the users. So, cloud becomes a high value target. Backup, if the data it is of major concern. So, SaaS vendor needs to ensure that all sensitive data of the enterprise is regularly backup to facilitate quick recovery in case of any disasters. So, use of strong encryption schemes to protect the backup data is recommended to prevent accidental leakage of sensitive information. So, for example, in the case of cloud vendors like Amazon, the data at rest in S3 is not encrypted by default. The users need to, so it is not encrypted by default. Then the users need to apply specific encryption techniques for the encryption of the backup, and it cannot be accessed or tampered by the unauthorized parties. So, last one is identity management and sign-on process. So, identity management or ID management is the key task or the areas which deals with the identifying the individual in the organizations and controlling the access to the resources that systems by placing restriction on the identities. So, this area is considered as one of the biggest challenge in information security. When the SaaS provider want to know how to control or who has the access to what systems within enterprise, it becomes all the more challenges. So, in such scenarios, the provisioning in such scenarios, the provisioning and deprovisioning of the users in the cloud becomes very crucial. Provisioning and deprovisioning means provisioning is the we are assigning the resources to the particular users, and deprovisioning is when the users complete a task or it does not need any cloud resource. Now he can deprovision, means he stopped the giving the rent to the particular for the particular cloud service. So, it is deprovisioning. So, which customer needs provisioning or deprovisioning. So, take care of all these tasks is is essential in SaaS environment. So, it is all these are the major concern or major issues, major security issues in software as a service, and all these issues need to be uh, solved to provide the full security of the customers data and customers resources in cloud environment. I hope all these issues are understood by you clearly, and in next lecture we will discuss another important topic. Thank you.